Good evening, tea lovers. Welcome to Confidence Tea Infusions. I'm your host, Gigi, and tonight we have a very special guest here for you. Dr. Michelle is in the house, and she is going to be talking to you guys about healing for the generations. We are so excited. This is a very special edition of Confidence Tea Infusions. I hope you have your cup of tea ready. I hope you guys are ready for some insightful, powerful conversations. If you're joining us for the first time, let us know in the chat where you are joining us from. I'm so excited to meet you and welcome to Confidence Tea Infusions. Let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're watching from Facebook, please grant StreamYard permission. That way, I can see all of your comments because I want to respond. This is definitely a conversation, a dialogue, not a monologue. So, welcome. I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds to come in the room, join us, grab your cup of tea, and let's have this amazing conversation tonight. I am so excited. If this is the first time you're tuning in to Confidence Tea Infusions, I want to let you know what it's all about. Confidence Tea Infusions is all about having powerful conversations about self belief, personal growth, and embracing your authentic self. And each episode, we're going to be diving into inspiring stories, expert insights, and practical tips that will help you boost your confidence and live the life that you were always destined to live. And so tonight, like I said, we have a very special guest. So grab your favorite tea. If you're drinking our tea, yes, we invite you to drink our tea. I'm gonna post the link in the chat. That way, if you want to get a taste of Confidence Tea Infusions, our luxury line of loose leaf teas, you can go to the link and definitely check out some of our favorite teas. Let me know what tea you're drinking tonight as well. I want to know what flavor. Tonight, I am going to be drinking, I think it's turmeric ginger. It's kind of starting to get cold. I don't know where you guys are, but it's starting to get cold where I am already. And so I want to make sure that I drink my tea and keep myself healthy. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I'm giving you guys some time to grab your favorite cup of tea. Welcome. Don't forget to subscribe and join our community of like minded individuals. We have a Facebook group. It is called Confidence Tea. And so that way you guys can join us. We always have very positive things. It's a group of like minded individuals who are ready to take charge of their lives and, live more authentically. So definitely join our Facebook group and also follow us on YouTube, Confidence Tea Podcast. I am so excited about tonight. So excited to have you guys here. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Say hello. Don't be shy. Welcome to Confidence Tea Infusions. I'm your host, Gigi. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. We get to have an amazing conversation with Dr. J. Michelle. And I'm going to tell you all about her before I bring her on, this amazing woman. But Dr. J. Michelle is a distinguished wellness advocate and community servant. Dr. Michelle is a sought after TEDx speaker and international presenter. She is an Amazon best-selling author specializing in empowering women's holistic well-being. She is the founder of Fantastic Solutions, which is a confidence coaching practice that focuses on wellness, and also the founder of Sisters Can We Talk, a nonprofit addressing health disparities among women. Dr. Van embodies George Bernard Shaw's philosophy that life is a splendid torch to be lived brightly. She is a devoted educator, wellness coach, and community leader. She serves at her local church and various organizations. She shares her life with Dr. William Van, her husband of 33 years, and their two children. So I am excited to welcome to Confidence Tea Infusions Dr. Michelle Van. And tonight we will be discussing legacy in every beat, healing and wellness for the generations. So, Confidence Tea lovers, please welcome Dr. J. Michelle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you this evening?
Amazing, amazing. It is amazing to be here with you.
I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you could join me tonight and we get to have this amazing conversation that is probably long overdue. So, definitely thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me tonight on Confidence Tea. And I just can't wait. I can't wait to get into it. And
Yeah, we need to have
um,
a sidebar conversation about that tea.
ah,
So yeah, we
yeah,
we we yeah, we need to have a conversation about the tea. I have some
yeah.
tea. I'm drinking peach ginger, but
See, I'm drinking, is I think is turmeric ginger is what I'm drinking tonight.
hmm
And but I'm telling you, and I think I sent out a whole bunch of samples the other day. So I think yours is in the mail.
uh-huh,
So
yeah,
you'll definitely get a chance to try some Confidence Tea Infusions tea. And so I'm excited. Let me know how you like it. And yes, I love it. It's good stuff.
good, good, amazing.
Yes, yes, yes. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you again for joining us tonight. I can't wait to get into this conversation with you. I know you want to talk about just healing and wellness for the
Yeah,
generations.
yeah.
And I know you coined this topic legacy in every beat. And when I saw that and I was like, "Oh wow, how powerful. Like what are we going to be, we're going to be talking about some amazing things tonight." And so I am super, super excited just to join in this conversation with you. So I'm gonna give you the floor because I can ramble on and on and on and on.
So thank you, Gigi. First of all, it's always a privilege and an honor when I'm able to share with women specifically, but with people in general. And when I really began to think about this, just to give you a little bit of background, just this weekend, my husband and I celebrated our 30 years of being in ministry.
Oh
And
wow.
so when we think about legacy, my husband and I are both fourth generation preachers. And it has been an amazing thing to look at legacy. But when we think about legacy, we generally think about how do we pass down tangible dollars? How do we pass down land? How do we pass down, maybe even some family folklore? But we don't always think about it from a perspective of health.
Mm,
And one of the things that really began as I began to really study and really look at, our legacy of health, my daughter, my husband didn't know it, but I surprised him and I had our daughter preach this morning.
oh
And
wow.
she's 30, and she's, one of those quiet ones that's been sitting on the shelf, and oh, I don't need it, but it's been brewing for a while. And so when we think about legacy, and when I introduced her, I said, um, she was with me when I was before I knew myself.
Mm,
And that's the thing we don't think about. Our seed, my egg, her egg was in me while I was still in my mother
hmm.
and while my mother was still in her mother.
Wow. That's so powerful to think about.
So she was with me even before I knew myself,
Mm,
because we were all together. And so
hmm.
when we think about legacy, we don't think about that DNA piece. We don't think about the things that happen and the traumas that have happened with generations before. The first thing I want to start off with is legacy starts with self-awareness. So
Mm,
when
yes.
I understand who I am, I wore this shirt on purpose today, and it just says, I just want my sisters to heal.
I love that. How can we get a shirt? How can we get a
Well, these
shirt?
are not this technically is not I didn't create these.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I'm a graphic tee girl.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that I won't create some more of these. Um, but the thing is that when we think about legacy, when we think about that self-awareness, I need to be healed so that I can heal those that are around me.
Yes.
Statistics say when a woman does her healing work, she changes the life of 7 generations.
Mm,
7
wow.
complete. When we look at numerology, 7 is complete. We look at the Bible, 7 is complete. So she changes by doing her work, by doing her healing work. She changes the next 7 generations. I don't have to repeat the same mistakes. I don't have to continue to go around and do the same things that happened before when I understand who I am and what I'm called to do. So legacy of health begins with self-awareness, understanding our emotions, our triggers, our reactions. For being more self-aware, we create a stronger foundation for health and influence future generations. Then we think about that next piece, which is emotional healing.
Mm.
And, sometimes we'll say, oh, well, that's just how we are. We the, whoever we go, we the spoons and we just cut up.
Yeah.
Do we?
Do we though?
Or have we bought into the lie? Have we
Mm.
bought into the fact that we don't have control over this? Have we bought into the fact that, we are emotional people and we don't know how to control that? Get some healing.
Mm.
When we heal emotionally, we can forgive. We
Yes.
can. I had a situation the other day, and someone kind of, shot some jazzy stuff back, and my response was thank you. Now their response back was, you're being passive aggressive. No, I wasn't. Not at all. I said thank you because now I know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you because you told me exactly what I needed to know, and I can say thank you because as far as I'm concerned, it's closed out.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm
you were
not
able
being
to accept what, sometimes the biggest things we can do, we don't believe them. You believe them.
I believe that you told me exactly who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that you told me exactly what you're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you for showing me I don't need to wait on you.
Mm.
So I
That's
didn't have
good.
to get messy. I didn't have to get, my insides didn't need to get messed up. I didn't need to get a tummy ache.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I forgive you because I already realized you doing the best you know how to do.
That's it. That's it. They're where they are. They're where they are. Mm-hmm.
So when we think about that, and when we think about that journey, it sets the tone for future generations. So how do we, you go back and you think about that whole Hatfields and the McCoys, and you ask generations down the road, they don't even know why we fighting.
Mm.
Why we don't go over cousin's house? Why do we don't go over Nana's house? Why don't we go? Oh, because we had beef. Well, I don't have beef with them. I don't know nothing about what y'all talking about.
Mm.
I just want to hang out with my cousins. So when we can get that healing, it can then go to generation after generation. When we heal ourselves, we break those cycles of emotional pain and we create a healthier emotional environment for those around you when we can heal. And I won't say that, healing is easy. And I won't say that healing doesn't take, repeated times.
Yes.
We forgive, then some stuff happens and we have to do it
Mm-hmm.
again.
Yeah. It's a process. It's definitely a process.
Mm-hmm.
I think with healing, just like anything you can think of, it takes time. It takes
Mm-hmm.
time to heal. And it's not it sometimes it can be painful.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes healing can be painful because a lot of times you have to take that stuff out. It's almost like I think of healing like a wound,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to clean it, like when you go
Mm-hmm.
to the doctor, and if you hurt yourself, they first got to clean it and it hurts, and then you got to allow it to heal, and sometimes it gets scabby, and if we pick at it, then we're right back to square one of
Yep.
letting it heal again.
If not worse.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Because if it gets infected or it gets,
there you go.
then we've got a whole nother level of foolishness that we didn't even anticipate.
That's true. Yep.
And so I think that's, it's that healing work, it's that forgiveness work, it's that work. I mean,
Mhm.
family takes work.
Yes, it does.
We don't get to choose the family that we're born in.
No, we
Um,
don't.
these people are they're our blood, and it's sometimes difficult. We can
Mhm.
choose our friends, we can sometimes choose the people that we work with, but our family that's who we got.
That's it.
This is the best we got. So what we gonna do and how we gonna work with it?
Yep.
So that forgiveness has to be a real big piece of our getting well. The more we can forgive, the more we can release, the more. I was watching some the other day that were talking about, how our cortisol levels, when they're off and when they're too high, cause all kinds of damage that happens in our body, and all kinds of physical ailments. When we can get that stress out of our life, when we can forgive and we can let go of some things, we can get rid of the stress, we can get rid
Mhm.
of the ulcers, we can get rid of the cancer, we can get rid of all those things that are negative in our body. Our blood pressure going up, cardiovascular diseases is huge in Black communities. And so,
Yes, it is.
all of that is about the stress. When we're looking at the beats of our heart, that's part of it.
Mhm.
Having the beat, having our rhythm done correctly. Okay, when our heart and our body and our motions are in rhythm, then it's easier to move. It's easier to flow. It's
Yeah.
easier to function, and it's easier when we can get that, when that's regulated. So
Hmm.
sometimes I have to be able to learn how do I regulate myself?
Yeah.
How do I know when this, it's time for me to go?
Hmm. And when it's time, yeah, and sometimes you do have to. You have to learn to love. My favorite thing to say is, "I love you, but I'm gonna love you from a distance." Just for my health and my sanity, I'm gonna love you from over here.
That part.
And sometimes we have to learn when we need to do that and take a step back and decide, you know what? I love you, family, but let me love you from over here.
Hmm. Hmm. So, and I think that's something we have to teach our kids,
Hmm.
and if we can teach them early and we can teach them to understand, everybody's not your friend. Everybody,
Hmm.
there are some people that are acquaintances, you know them, you like them, but they're not your friend. They're not your inner circle.
That's
Um,
true.
and so we have to really understand that and teach that to our kids. Legacy and wellness starts with focused action.
Mm.
So every small focused action we take towards wellness, whether through balancing nutrition or spiritual growth, builds a lasting legacy. Each healthy choice contributes to generational wellness by improving both our physical and spiritual well-being. See, we are mind, body, and spirit.
Yes.
Triune being. We cannot be balanced if part of us is not right.
Mm.
If our body is lagging, we're not feeding it the right food, then it's not, we don't have the energy we need, we can't get where we need to go. Our body will break down if our mind is out of kilter. We
Mhm.
can't put our thoughts together, we can't quiet our brain so that we can sleep, so that our body can get the rest that it needs in order to rejuvenate. If my spirit man is off,
Mm.
everything else feels,
Everything is
a little
off.
heavy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we can't, that's one of those things that, people will say, oh, I'm spiritual, but I don't have any spirit, I don't have practices. Okay,
Mm.
well, I mean, so how can you be spiritual if you don't, if you're not communing with God?
Mhm.
How
Yeah.
can you be spiritual if you're not taking in what needs to be? If you're not reading your Bible, if you're not taking some time to pray and hearing what Father has to say to you, if you're not going to church and being in community with people that'll check you.
Mm. Yeah.
It's real easy to say I'm spiritual and be at home and be at an island of your own, but how can you go into community and have somebody be like, sis, what you saying is wrong?
Mhm. Yeah, that's
You
true.
off.
Mhm.
I love you, but you off.
Mhm.
Let's get it.
You won't even notice you're off if you're not communing with other people, you know? You're not even gonna notice it.
Because we believe we can make ourselves believe whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's the beauty of coming into community and having that space of community, even in our families where we have that time where we're like, no, I love you, but no, you off. And so that becomes one of those small steps. How do I build that relationship? How do I go into places? How do I accept correction?
Mhm.
You know,
That's a big
so,
one. That is a big one. A lot of times, even though sometimes people don't know how to lovingly correct someone,
mhm,
but then it comes with us. Like we could be dead wrong. And never mind, they might have not given you the correction the right way, but we still have to have a conscious thought of like, I was wrong. Like that was, and I think, sometimes we have to be strong in knowing like, okay, let me fix it. Let me work on me. Yes, that person corrected me in a wrong manner.
mhm.
And they could have gone about it a better way. However, I was wrong.
Yeah, and that goes back to that self-awareness. You
Mhm,
know, am I able to notice that? Am I able to notice, like, hey, that the way that blew down, it didn't feel good. It felt, yeah.
mhm,
But can I go back and listen to what the essence of that conversation was? I can remember my husband and I when we very, towards the beginning of our marriage, and he was just like, you know, what, and I was like, first of all, you can't, and then later on I had to go back and sit, and Holy Spirit was like, okay, so he told you. Now I'm going to tell you. Because at the
mm,
end of the day, what he said was right. You
mhm,
were just mad at the vessel that it came from.
mhm. That part.
It was still right.
Uh-huh. And sometimes that's what it is. Like it's the person who's telling us we're wrong. It's like it could be anybody else, but not you. You don't get to tell me I'm
You don't
wrong,
get to make it
And
right.
so we reject the person. Because we reject the person, we reject the message and we reject the correction, even though it's good for us. Yeah.
And it helps us, and so when we reject that, we also reject the power of the purpose that it was supposed to have.
Mhm.
Because what was supposed to happen was, that purpose gives us that sense of where our boundaries are.
Mhm.
And when we're outside of the boundaries of who we are supposed to be and what we're supposed to be doing, then we're living in chaos.
Mhm.
And so really, as we look at purpose, as we look at, who we're supposed to be, what is that wellness? Both our purpose is essential for both personal and wellness, and to create a health legacy. When we live with intention, we align our daily choices with our long-term wellness goals. So what might that be? What might our long-term wellness goals be? You know,
Mm.
um, in my husband's family, there is a lot of people that have had cancer. So we have been very intentional about what do we eat? How do we
Mhm.
eat? Are we exercising? Are we making sure that we are getting all of our testings? Are we, are we getting those mammograms? Are we getting those prostate screens? Are we looking at that blood work? Are we looking at all of those things? Because the enemy never wants you to walk in purpose. So
Mm-mm.
some of these things that happen are to throw us off of purpose, to throw us
Absolutely.
off the game, to throw us out of the will of God. And sometimes we are eating ourselves right out of that space because
Mhm.
Holy Spirit, we're eating and we're doing all this stuff, and Holy Spirit's like, stop, stop. I was in the grocery store buying
'Cause you
groceries.
can't even do it if you can't fulfill your purpose if you're not healthy to do it, if you're not around to do it.
If I,
And it
say I'm, my health is at a space where my heart isn't working right, so I don't have the breath and the oxygen in
Mhm.
me to flow like I need to. My mind is not working like it needs to. My
Mm-mm.
body is not working like it needs to. If I'm overweight, then I'm not able to function. I'm not able to
Mhm.
move like I need to move. I'm not able to be in the spaces that I need to be. Um, you know, Holy Spirit challenged me. I was, out here buying my groceries, getting stuff I like. Da, 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 da. He said, "No meat."
What?
Said no meat, no potatoes, no pasta.
Wow.
Looking around in the store like, you can't be talking to me.
Wow.
Food group.
Wow. No meat, no pasta, no potatoes.
He finally gave me fish back, but I haven't ate potatoes and pasta and no other kind of meat, and I can't in over a year.
Oh my God. Well, your skin looks great.
Thank
So,
you.
I mean,
but
whatever you're doing, definitely.
but it was literally that. It was
Mhm.
literally him saying, you know what, there's a call and there's a place that I need you to be at, and I need you to physically be at a space.
Mhm.
I need you to physically be at the space. Now we're kind of wrestling with coffee.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Jesus.
See, coffee's not my problem, but I know I've struggled a lot and I still have an occasional struggle. I have a sweet tooth. And so that has definitely been a journey for me. And anybody who knows me knows, oh man, I love my sweets. And so I had gotten to the place where it's like, okay, I'm not purchasing it, but don't let me be in line at the
Baby.
listen at somebody's wedding. I will knock you down for that last piece of cake because
Especially if
I
it has
don't
good.
purchase it. And I'm still, I'm a work in progress. I'm still working on it. But one of the things that I learned is that about the body is like the body is not a car. If you catch a flat tire, you can buy a spare, or you might have a spare in the trunk, but our body parts, we don't have any spares. We don't
Mhm.
have a spare heart lying around.
Nope.
It's not like we just got spare lungs and a spare, so we have to really take care of the body that God has given us in order for us to accomplish what he's called us to do. There's
Mhm.
no spare parts for us.
Mhm. I mean,
And
and even if you get a transplant, because I'm sure somebody's out there going, "Well, you can get a transplant."
yeah,
You can, but you also have to be healthy enough in order to be able to get on the list.
yeah. And the
So,
process.
so needing my sister just passed away in May.
Oh, my
She was
condolences.
and she was on dialysis for probably about 10, 15 years. And we considered whether or not at some point she was going to get a kidney transplant, but she had a heart condition.
Wow.
And so one of the things that they said was, we can't give you a heart I mean, a kidney, if we're not sure that we can put you on the table and knock you out. But
Mm,
because her heart had issues, they weren't sure. And they were like,
wow.
ah. So the thing is that while I may be able to get a spare part,
Mm,
I may be able to get a new heart, or I may be able to get a new kidney or new liver. There's some replacement things out there. Someone else can, pass away and share theirs. My other parts have to be good enough in order for me to be well enough to be able
to
to
get,
receive it,
yes, wow.
which in most cases is not the case.
It's not the case because usually when one thing's wrong, 9 times out of 10, it follows, everything else.
Yeah, that heart, kidney, lung thing tends
Hmm.
to be, you know,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
yeah. So it's just looking at how do I make sure that I'm fit for the
Mhm.
kingdom?
Mhm.
How do I make sure that I'm fit so that when my children are looking at me, they're not saying, well, we die early.
Mm.
Why?
Yeah.
We don't have to. I
Mhm.
think the other piece too is that when we don't have those connections like we used to have.
Mhm.
So, but I can remember growing up, we all sat at the table, we talked about what was happening.
Yes.
There was those conversations, so you talk about loose tea, so we were having conversations, and there was tea, and there was, in my case, there was a grandmother who had, she had Ovaltine, and we might have had some Folgers coffee. There were just these things, these
Mhm.
connections, these times when we pulled together and they were talking. And I can remember my grandma talking to me about menopause, and saying, girl, you'll be so hot, you'll go outside butt naked in the middle of the winter. And I was like, sis, you were a little drastic.
Wha-
Baby, I got to menopause and I was like, I should have listened a little bit more.
Yeah.
Should
Yeah.
have asked a few more questions.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. When we talk about legacy,
Mhm.
have we sat down with the people that we came from and
Mm.
said, what did Nana die from?
Wow.
What did Auntie, Sue die from?
Mhm.
What's in our family line? Is cancer something that's in our family line?
Mhm.
And can we figure out what were the things that were happening and what is the connection? Is it in our DNA? And if so, what do I need to be doing
Yeah,
to
how do
make
we
sure?
stop the cycle? How do we stop the cycle so now we don't pass it on
Absolutely.
to the next generation? But if we don't know, it goes back to what you were saying, that self-awareness, but just that awareness entirely, from our family pool. Like
Because we
if
don't
we
like to
don't know,
talk about it.
yeah, nobody wants to talk about it.
So my husband's aunt died from cancer. She had breast cancer. She had this was like her second or third time that she had it. Um, and she passed away. So what happened is that her daughters went back and said, hey, we want to get the test. We want to be tested to find out, do we have the markers?
Mhm.
Because one of the sisters got breast cancer as well. She said, hey, I'm going to get my breast removed. I'm going to get all of everything out. And then the other sister, the problem became insurance didn't want to pay for it.
Wow.
So she had to fight her insurance. My mother died from breast cancer. My sister had breast cancer. Why would you not test me?
Hmm.
Why would
Hmm.
I not be tested so that I can figure out
So
what
that
I
I can
can do?
prevent it if
Exactly.
I'm a carrier of, wow.
And finally, she was able to get tested.
Mm.
But it was, again, it's one of those things that for a
She
lot
had
of
to
us,
advocate for herself or it would have never happened.
and for a lot of us, the problem becomes is that because it's challenging, we give
Mhm.
up.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
And so because it's challenging and because they said no, many of us would take no. Oh, okay, well, they said we can't do it. No, that just means go find somebody else.
Mhm, mhm.
That means
Knock
find a
on the
different.
next door. Knock on the
Exactly.
next door, go see the next doctor, go to the next clinic,
Get it on
whatever
your
you have to do because
first.
it's your life.
Mhm. And so when we think about, how do we have those conversations? We growing up, we had them over dinner. We
Mhm,
had them sitting on the front porch in the summertime.
mhm,
I know growing up, we sat on the front porch, and there wasn't nothing that could happen that my great grandmother didn't know because she was sitting on that front porch day and night. She'd go to the back. She was gonna sit on that porch in the summer and tell you everything that was happening in the neighborhood. Everybody
mm,
was gonna stop by. They was gonna sit on the porch. Do you want some lemonade? Do you want some
mhm.
water? We're not having those
We're
conversations.
not doing that anymore. Kids don't even play outside, till the street lights come on, like, we did back in the day, like that was a thing. Now, I don't see kids playing outside.
Right. And so again, if they're not outside and they're not playing and they're not moving around, how are they getting physical activity? Because
They're not.
it's
They're
because
not.
they don't have time to go to recess at school most of the time.
Most of the time, they don't. I don't even think recess is even a thing in schools anymore.
It's not. So where are our kids supposed to be moving?
Hmm.
If they're not going outside at home and they're not going outside at school, where are they moving?
They're glued to the tablets and computers and cell phones, and
Which is where we're getting, which is why right now mental health is the biggest conversation that we're having.
it is.
Because where we were going outside and we were running and we were figuring out how to problem solve and we were,
Hmm.
somebody wouldn't let you play. Well, we're going to fight and we're going to roll on the grass and we're going to fight. We're going to get it over. But guess what? We all live to see the next day.
Hmm.
Because did
That's true.
nobody have a gun? Did nobody
Hmm.
have a knife? We was just out here, rough rowling it, being rowdy and, boop, 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 boop,
And
boop.
that was it. That was the end of it.
And then we wouldn't play the game.
Hmm.
Did nobody, you might have been mad for a minute and sit on the wall, but you was coming back.
Exactly.
Because we got 6 more hours to be out here because it ain't dark.
Hmm. Yep, that's
And
true.
can't nobody go in the house because if you go in the house, you can't come back out.
And I think parents didn't accept the foolishness either. I think parents, when you got into it with, your neighbor down the way, your parents weren't, and you go and you, I don't want to play. Go back over there and
And figure it
and
out.
now and figure it out. You're not coming back home in this house till, you know. And so now I think too, it's like we have a sensitive generation. We have such
Yep.
a sensitive generation where those things don't happen anymore, and
Mhm.
they're harboring everything in, and there's just no grit.
Mhm. And so we miss those conversations, those conversations that you're talking about, those conversations that built us, those conversations that made us go back and think, how do I problem solve? How do I deal with controversy? How do I deal with drama? How do I deal? It's just those. How do I ask the right questions? How do I play with others? And so, because we don't have those conversations, we don't know our history,
Mhm.
and we don't know how to really deal with the things that are happening in our world, whether they're
Yeah.
mental, physical, or spiritual.
Mhm.
And so, what I wanted to share is that myself and a friend, Dr. Norma, we wrote a book called Healthy Plates. And it's basically just a book with recipes and just some meditations and some times to reflect for people to sit down
Sit down somewhere.
and have a conversation over a meal.
I love that.
Just,
I love that.
just simple meals for you to eat, to talk, to converse around these conceptual ideas of who is our family? How do we build wealth? How do we build legacy? How do we build resilience? How do we build ourselves? How do we become emotionally well? How do we have these mindset shifts so that we get to a space that says, I want to be healed. I want to
Yeah.
be well. I want to be whole. I want to live as
Yeah.
long as I'm supposed to. I don't
And
want to die prematurely.
exact. And I want to live life to the fullest, and not be tied to a hospital bed while I'm living.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, we had 5 people in our family die between us, between my husband and I, myself, from May 7th to May 25th.
Oh wow. That's a
And
lot.
it was. And one of the things that it really brought up for us is that, life is a short vapor.
Mhm.
Before, we think about winter time and we go outside and we blow the smoke. And, when we were little kids, we thought that was like the coolest thing in the whole world. But life is literally that, it's a vapor. And if we're
Mhm.
not careful, our vapor is just extinguished. And have we done what we were called to do?
Mhm.
Have we shared the legacy of love and wealth and health? And when I say wealth, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the wealth that comes from the conversations that we have, from the legacy that we have, from the history that we have, from the passion that we have, from the health that we have. Have we shared with our family those things? And if
Mm.
not, how do we do it and when do we do it? I have a 91-year-old aunt,
Wow.
and she's still like, healthy, and
That's
still
amazing.
get her car. She doesn't drive. Her husband drives. She doesn't drive, but they still will travel. And my we just had a death last week, and she was there, and sharing scripture and sharing encouragement. And so, one of our things was, we used to come together, well, before the pandemic. It was really before the pandemic. And we would come together like this sometime during the week after Christmas, and we would always just have a family breakfast. And it was like, my grandfather was the oldest boy of 10. And so there were 10 children, 5 girls, 5 boys, and they all had kids. And so all of us would come together as much as possible. And we would have this huge breakfast. We would take over this restaurant, and we did it for years, and then the restaurant closed, and then we're kind of like, what to do? And so we kind of decided, this year, hey, we're going to do it, and we're not going to do it at Christmas time because that's a whole mess for a lot of us. But we're going to do it the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And we're going to come together, and it's not a family reunion. It's just a kickback. And we need to make sure that our kids know each other.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that they have that connection, that they know, hey, if I'm in Tulsa, I know that, Sally lives in Tulsa. I can call if I'm stuck.
Yeah. And that's important. It's so important because we're losing we're losing family. Like we're losing the connection that we have with each other. And then our kids don't even know, like I remember growing up, like I knew my cousins. You know what I'm saying? But I
Exactly.
don't know that the generation that came after me, that they were as fortunate,
Mhm.
and it's very important is those family trees. And especially, I mean, I always think about it in this sense. I always think about, I don't want to date and be dating and then find out down the line like we related
Because
somehow.
you be attracted to your cousins. Because they
That's my,
fine.
that has always been like a fear for me. Like I need to know all my family.
All of them. I need to know all of you. When
Yes.
my husband and I, like, let's talk about all the people that you related to. Let's make sure, because you know what, Kansas is a really small state, and there's a lot of times there's like 2 degrees of separation. So I need to know who your people are.
You never know, because you never know.
Mhm.
You never know. You never know.
So that's, I mean, really what I share, when we think about history, when we think about legacy, it's just, how do we make sure, how do we pass a strong spiritual legacy? How do we
Mhm.
pass that family history? How do we pass just those customs and traditions? And while ours may not necessarily, because we think, oh well, I don't necessarily want to do the same traditions that my mom did, and that's cool,
Mhm.
but you need to have some.
Something.
What are the traditions that your family has? What are the things that you decide to do? What are the things that are important for you? What are the things that, your children will be able to sit down and have a conversation with their children about, or their friends when they go to college?
Mhm.
That was always important to me. What my kids go away, what do I want them to be able to say? My baby is 30, and my older
Wow.
child is will be 33 here in just a little bit. And so I look at them and say, no, they don't have any kids yet, but what is the legacy? What are the things that they're going to be able to say? Oh, I remember when. I
Mhm.
remember when I was telling somebody the other day, I remember being a little kid, and my grandma would, we could make cookies. She'd have these cookies that she made, these icebox cookies that were just fabulous, and people loved to get them. And I remember her just letting me set everything up like I was doing a talk show, and she would be my audience. She'd be like,
Oh.
oh baby, oh come on, look at you, you just so. And I would, go through this whole thing. I would talk through all the ingredients, and 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 she would just be the best audience ever.
Wow. And look at you now. Look at that. Look at how, God works in such mysterious ways, because now you get to do it on a daily basis.
Right. So, it's those kinds of things. It's, do our kids have those kind of memories with us?
Mm.
Are we building moments with them that will lead to legacy, that will lead to this lifetime of just being able to have these memories? Or, will their memories be, hey, I played this game and I got to 10 million. My, you know,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
what does
true.
that look
Some of
like?
my fondest memories were of my childhood, like with my grandparents or with my parents, like just those memories. Some of my like it wasn't me playing a game on the computer, or it wasn't anything like that. It was just some of those precious times that I can't, I can't get back. I would give anything just to have, a few minutes of that time back. But
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so
yeah.
to make sure that, this next generation gets, and maybe we haven't done a great job of doing that, but what do we do to rectify that? How do
Well,
we
this
go
is
about?
why these conversations are so crucial
Yeah.
and so important for us to have, because I feel like we're not talking about a lot of things, and so many people are suffering.
Mhm,
I work in the mental health sector, and
mhm,
I come across so many people that deal with so many things, and they don't have a support system, they don't have an outlet, they don't have a community that they can talk to where it's a safe space.
mhm.
And ultimately, I just want this to be a safe space. I want people to feel like, let's have the conversation. Yes, I'm struggling with my health. Yes, I'm struggling with my confidence. Yes, I'm struggling in this area of imposter syndrome, and I'm dealing with these different things. And, let's talk about it. Let's
Mhm.
let's break that apart and dissect it and see, how do we grow from it? How do we learn from it? How do we become better? Um, you know, and really, that's why, this is so important. So again, I just thank you so much for just taking the time and sharing this information with us. How can we get a copy of the book?
So the book will be out in November. We are
Okay.
doing pre-sales right now. And I can send you that information. We're doing pre-sales right now. But it will be out for everybody to get in November. It's going to be amazing. There'll be a book and then a journal that'll go with it. So the
That's
journal is
awesome.
31 days of wellness and spiritual. So you'll be able to just write and journal and really, have these meals, have these conversations. One of the things I really would love to have happen is, and what I'm working on right now is to do some lives where we're actually cooking some of the meals and doing some conversations around those with women. And I think they're just going to be powerful ways of just
I
process
love that.
healing, being set free in ways that just feel amazing, especially for the
Absolutely.
holidays.
I love that. Yeah, especially during the season that's we're getting ready to embark upon. I love that. I am so happy for you. Definitely, shoot me the link and let me know how we can support you with. Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Yes, technology. It's our best friend, but our worst enemy. But definitely, send the link, and I will definitely share it um, in this video. That way, people who want to get a copy of that book and journal can go to the website and get on that pre-sale list and
Yeah.
support you and all the amazing things that you're doing. We have about 2 minutes left. Dr. Michelle, is there any final words you want to let the audience know? Anything you have coming up or how they can
Yeah,
connect with
so
you?
I would say, hit me on. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Um, I do have a retreat coming up in December, December 13th and 14th. It is taking flight. It is part of my Live Well group, and I love to be in connection. So feel free to like any of those pages. You can find me. Also, my more wellness pages are Coach Fantastic, and that's VANNTASTIC. Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you
Yes.
for having this conversation with me on Confidence Tea. It was just wonderful sharing this time with you. We must do it again. And I look forward to definitely connecting with you more. So, so excited that you could be here with us tonight. Thank you again, Dr. Norma, and have a wonderful
Thank you.
night. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. It's been another amazing episode of Confidence Tea Infusions, where we aim to transform your mind, edify your soul, and activate your confidence. I bid you farewell. Bye bye.